For spending $1.6 billion in federal funding coming to Louisiana. The specifics coming up. Lafayette organizations are set to meet tomorrow for a serious discussion on gentrification. More on what this event aims to achieve.
Showers and thunderstorms making their way closer to Acadiana. It's looking like rain chances, they are on the rise. Details through the weekend coming up.
Is live this morning for our Friday feed. He'll also tell you how to donate to our supply drive at the Children's Museum downtown.
From Fox 15, News 15 Today starts now.
Good Friday morning. You are watching News 15 Today. I'm Alex Worstel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Well, Governor John Bel Edwards outlined his plan for spending $1.6 billion in federal funding coming to Louisiana. The funds are a part of President Biden's American Rescue Plan, which is designed to keep the state's economy in recovery mode. Listed is Governor Edwards' plan for the aid. The state is still awaiting final federal guidance on spending the ARP funds, but this initial amount represents the first part of funding to Louisiana, with additional funding being used to address long-term priorities in the future. Let's get a check of the weather this morning with Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier. Good morning, Adam. How's it looking out there?
You know, Alex, we are tracking some quiet conditions around Acadiana for now, but back off to our west, a lot of rain starting to show up. You can see this big area of showers and thunderstorms, heavy rain too, pushing its way eastward. It's about an hour away from getting into the western sections of Acadiana. Some light showers up to the north along an old gust front, which is rain-cooled air here, stretching through St. Landry Parish, right around Beggs, seeing some of that light rain. Low to mid-70s out there right now. As you head out to the bus stop, well, we see those low to mid-70s continuing, but generally dry. Rain chances increase the later in the morning time we go, and then thunderstorms this afternoon, so definitely have the rain gear. We'll talk about rain chances through the weekend coming up.
Alrighty, Adam, sounds great. Thanks so much. We'll check back shortly. A former Shreveport police officer has been indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly punching, pistol whipping, and kicking a man who was under arrest. Dylan Hudson was arresting a man in Caddo Parish in August of 2019 when he allegedly used unreasonable force. Hudson made his initial appearance in U.S. District Court in Shreveport on Thursday. He pleaded not guilty to willfully depriving an individual of his right to be free from the use of unreasonable force during an arrest. Now, if convicted, Hudson could face up to 10 years in prison. Lawmakers also plan on giving K-12 public school teachers a pay raise next year. The pay raise is a total of $1,000. That's more than double the amount proposed by Governor Edwards. That, along with $500 increase for support staff, will be included in next year's budget. Louisiana is well behind the southern average when it comes to education salaries. St. Martin Parish introducing a new safe exchange zone for purchases made online through sites like Facebook Marketplace. The exchange zone is located in the parking lot of the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office Public Safety Complex. You just pull into one of the designated spots outlined in green, and then you dial the number on the sign before conducting your transaction or your exchange.
But we want you to be safe. And our idea of safety is being in the parking lot of St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office so we can watch you and ensure your safety.
Well, this is a 24-hour monitored service offered to residents of St. Martin Parish. A reminder, the Lafayette Police Department has a similar safe exchange zone in the parking lot across from its University Avenue headquarters. Well, the Vermilion River is a vital waterway for Acadiana, and keeping it clean is always on the mind of local officials. Almost every day, members of the Vermilion District clean the river of trash and debris along an over 30-mile stretch. Even with all of this work, David Cherame says that keeping the Vermilion clean can start with you.
Of course, coming through an urban core, that means there's a lot of people living in there, and the population and people, of course, generate a lot of trash, unfortunately. What part of our mission is to get people, first of all, to litter less, educating the population by working with different groups, LCG, Parish Proud, Front Yard Project, and other partners at UL, etc. Just to let people know that, hey, we have other options than throwing your trash out of the window.
Well, over the course of a year, workers pick up almost 1,055 gallon drums worth of trash off the river. Well, turning to some events happening this weekend, local organizations in Lafayette will meet on Saturday for a serious community discussion. The public is invited to the meeting on Saturday. It's at the Domain Center to participate in a conversation dedicated to breaking down the impact of gentrification in impoverished neighborhoods. For more information, call 337-501-7617. And Tula Tacos and Amigos setting the tone for spring weekends with Saturdays. Every Saturday until the end of spring, the restaurant will have afternoons filled with yummy food, drink specials, and a DJ in their courtyard. Pets are allowed as well to join in on the fun times. You can visit their Facebook page for more details. And the Diocese of Lafayette will close out the year of St. Joseph with a closing mass and a family fun day tomorrow at St. Joseph's Church in Milton. May 1st is the memorial of St. Joseph the Worker. Festivities will start at 10 a.m. as Bishop Desitel celebrates the mass, and then from 11 to 1 there will be live music, food trucks, and a variety of games. The Delcombe Seafood and Farmers Market will open tomorrow at Bayou Carlin Cove. You can enjoy lots of homemade food items and get a head start on your Mother's Day shopping. You can also find the perfect gift among 40 different vendors. The market will also have live music played by the Cajun Stompers. The Delcombe Seafood and Farmers Market opens at 9 a.m. and it goes until 1 p.m. You can also bring the entire family to the first Saturday Brobridge pop-up happening tomorrow. The merchants of downtown and surrounding businesses have all partnered for this monthly event, which features local pop-up markets, sidewalk sales for the taste of spring shopping. The first Saturday Brobridge pop-up is located on Reese Street, downtown Brobridge from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Well, your weekend with Downtown Sunday, you can end your weekend rather with Sunday brunch on Jefferson Street. The 400 block of the street will be blocked off to make the event pedestrian friendly. From 11 to 3, you can browse pop-up shops, food and drink specials. Of course, there will be a live DJ set. COVID-19 protocols will be enforced, like mask wearing and social distancing. Visit their Facebook page for more details on future events. You can catch up on continued coverage of the latest news around Acadiana and the state by visiting our website, kadn.com. The economy is starting to rebound, but the cost of everyday items are rising dramatically. We're looking into what you can expect in the year ahead. And we're combining two things this morning, two things we love: Friday feed and service. Al Abair is outside of the Children's Museum this morning to tell you more.
Does anybody care? Hey, we're gonna make TV. Check, check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're good.
I said that's nice of you.
Things up close are starting to get like optically weird. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just make sure the headlines. Okay, cool. Thank you. And the 400 block. Ooh, I like that. Well, it is time for Friday Feed. Al Abear switching things up this morning. He's actually at the Children's Museum with the Cajun New Yorker food truck. Al's been talking about this all week long, so we're going to check in to see what's cooking. How's it going, Al?
Alex, is going great. You know, this is one of the Friday feeds that I love because I've actually had a chance to come out and experience the food. I love this food. Skip and Molly do amazing things. Cajun New Yorker, mostly in Abbeville. You can find them there. We're doing the egg rolls, the
Philly cheesesteak egg rolls.
Right, Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. I love these things. What's our next step?
Okay, so we went ahead and we heated up our meat and our onions and peppers. After you do that, you want to put it in a refrigerator. You want to cool it off. So when you go ahead and you add your cheese, I use mozzarella cheese in this. You don't want it to melt. So you want your meat to be cold. And you're just going to mix it up real nice. Get your cheese in there. Give a nice portion of cheese because that cheese is going to make it ooey and gooey when you bite into it.
So
it'll string out like a cheese.
So I'm surprised you don't want it to melt. It's in this process, but it's going to melt when you fry it.
It'll melt in the fryer when it's
Got it.
heated up.
Got it.
You know, I'd also like to mention that we do some other sandwiches that are phenomenal out there. We do your traditional New Orleans 9-inch muffalata. We do a sandwich called the Jack, which is ham, roast beef heated in gravy.
Wow.
With pepper jack cheese.
I like that.
You know, we have an all-American menu: hamburgers, hot dogs, bacon burgers. We do a Nacho Mama's nachos, which are just out of control. We do pulled pork on top of nachos, cheddar cheese sauce, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, jalapenos with salsa and a cilantro lime sour cream.
Whoa!
Oh
wow.
My.
So
Yes.
pulled pork. That's kind of made a resurgence. I mean, that's getting popular, right?
Let me tell you, yesterday I ran a special of a pulled pork po' boy. Say that 5 times fast.
Pulled pork po'
Topped
boy,
with
yeah.
fried onions and French fries, and I must have sold about 15 of them.
Wow.
And the one thing I do about my pork is I don't smoke my pork. I slow roast it for 12 hours overnight.
Wow, that sounds a lot like our show because this morning's show is slow roasted for hours and hours. We're going to go back to Alex in the studio for one of the best mellow, slow roasted shows in the market.
Alrighty, thank you, Al. We'll continue to check in with you. A reminder that News 15 has partnered with the Children's Museum of Acadiana for a supply drive. For that full list of acceptable donations, you can head to our website, kadn.com. A dry start to the morning, but we could see some storms later on today. Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier tracking rain chances in the forecast next. Stay with us. It's 7:13 on your Friday morning. Sure. Wait, hold on. Hold on, Kaylin, she's giving it to me. 985-212-2053. 985
Always tracking, always alerting. Here's your Storm Track 15 weather.
Welcome back. A dry start to the day, but that may not be the case later on. We're checking in now with Storm Track 15 meteorologist Adam Olivier. Adam, could we see some storms roll through later today?
Yeah, it certainly looks like that'll be the case, Alex, as we track showers and some thunderstorms back out to our west. Now, that big line has kind of fallen apart, which is great news. We're not going to see that really intense rain, but still some lightning, some thunder, and this light to moderate rain starting to spread from west to east here. We're going to be watching this because it's likely, especially north of I-10, that you get some pretty heavy rain at times. Already seeing some light showers, or were earlier. Those have since faded away, but we go over towards Evangeline Parish here, towards Glenmora in Rapides, and you can see that, yeah, there's still some light rain falling up that way, more so up towards Alexandria. There's a weak outflow boundary that's set up here. I'm just going to hang out there for much of the morning time. Now, as we await those rain chances through the morning, it's going to be muggy. Low to mid 70s out there, lots of clouds, some peaks of sunlight over towards Jennings, but that's not going to be sticking around. Our futurecast shows that all that light to moderate rain, it's this model a little bit behind where that rain is. I expect by midday it should be overspreading much of the areas north of I-10, but still a lot of rain to track later on. You can see those bubbly pop-up showers and storms through the afternoon. This is at 3 o'clock, and then we go later into the evening hours and everything kind of quiets down. We don't expect a whole lot left over towards 6 p.m. By 9 o'clock, certainly not expecting a whole lot out there. And the good news is that weak outflow boundary that I mentioned earlier is going to act like a cold front tonight and settle down offshore, increasing our winds out of the northeast, which will bring in some drier air. So that means, at least for the first part of your Saturday, yeah, this model keeps in maybe the hint of a sprinkle. We're going to kind of start off a little bit drier feeling. But by the afternoon, look at the direction of the wind arrows now. Coming out of the south, that is a warmer wind direction, more humidity, and look what that's going to lead to during the afternoon hours. A few showers and storms, not as many as there are going to be around today, but still the potential for some rain. Now, generally, we will continue to climb into the lower 80s, mainly south of I-10. North of the interstate, you're likely to stay in the upper 70s. Tonight, we see that drier air settling in. Down closer to the coast, you're not going to get as much of that drier air push, so you'll be near 70 degrees for those overnight lows. Tomorrow, scattered showers, possibly by 5 o'clock. Overall, a generally dry Saturday. Sunday, not the case. We are looking very stormy from start to finish on Sunday. Bring the outside plans indoors. Monday, well, get to put that 3-letter word on the 7-day. Hot. Could we see our first 90? It's possible Monday.
Oh boy. Alrighty, Adam. Thank you for that. We're going to continue to check in with you throughout the morning. But a friend of the show, Chris Rader, he joins me next for an end of the week tech talk. He'll fill us in on the latest in the tech world. You don't want to miss it. It's coming up next.
Good morning, Alex. How are you this morning? Great. How are you? Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the tile that you use to find keys? A-
We did a little like tech talk wrap up story in that.
That's correct. Apple. Yeah, Apple came out with one called AirTag, and it's very similar, except it'll work. It'll be more powerful, and that's what we're going to talk about. How much time do we have? Okay, we can fit it in. Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Okay yesterday? Okay.
Welcome back. It is 7:20 on your Friday morning, and joining us now, we have friend of the show, Chris Rader, for a little tech talk to end the Friday. Good morning, Chris. How are you today?
Good morning, Alex. Doing great.
So today we are talking about air tags. Now, I know a little bit about this. They're similar to the little tiles that help you kind of find your keys, your wallet, correct?
That's correct. And today, Apple introduced something called AirTag. Alex, it's interesting. The Apple iPhone was developed 15 years ago, and the iPad was developed 12 years ago. And I estimate there's probably 2 billion people using iPhones and maybe 500 million or plus using iPads. So what is the AirTag? The AirTag is a device that's really small. It's about 2/4 in size that you can hook to your keys, put in a suitcase or other places, and track it, track devices, and track them with your iPhone. Let's say you're in your house and you lost your keys. Very similar to Find My iPhone. You use Find My, I guess it'll be called AirTag. And by the way, this is coming out today.
Wow.
So you could order one today on the Apple website if you wanted. And it would show you where those keys are. But let's say you're at a friend's house and they also have an iPhone and you lost your keys. Your iPhone is further away from there, and the distance I think is about 100 meters, or let's just say a little longer than a football field. But it'll work through the web of iPhones and recognize with their Bluetooth, even though that for security reasons it goes behind the scenes, I guess we'd say. So if they pass by your keys or anybody with one of these 2 billion iPhones, it would notify you the location of those keys, which is remarkable. I mean,
It
it's
really
amazing.
is. Wow.
On the Apple website, they state, lose your knack for losing things. And I think that's the purpose behind this. The iPhone has replaced the camera, the GPS, and the iPad has replaced Toys R Us. If you imagine children driving around in cars with their iPads. And I really believe that this is an amazing small device that you can pay $25 for one or $100 for four. And I think it'll replace the tile.
I can think of so many people in my life that this would totally benefit. So I'm so glad this is out, and some people in my family could probably expect this for Christmas. But Chris, it's always a pleasure having you on, and hopefully we'll check in next week.
A great Mother's Day gift also, Alex. Thank you.
You're right, a great Mother's Day gift as well. Thanks so much, Chris. Coming up next, we are talking about the cost of living. It's on the rise. We'll have more on that in national news. I know, but honestly, better him than me because I don't know what I'm talking about. Wait, did I scroll too fast? What's going on? It's fine. What did you say to me, Adam? Welcome back at 7:26. You may want to start clipping coupons as more companies say inflation, kinks in the supply chain, and rising production costs are going to continue driving up the cost of consumer goods. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer reports.
The International Monetary Fund is now estimating our economy will grow at a rate of more than 6% this year.
The economy is starting to rebound, but as unemployment numbers fell last week to the lowest point since the start of the pandemic, the cost of living is only going up as grocery bills for many Americans are getting steeper.
I'm noticing it in my pocketbook.
The overall cost of consumer goods last month increased by 0.6%, the largest amount in almost a decade. This comes as inflation rates rose by almost 3% throughout 2020.
Last couple of weeks I see is the eggs, everything is going up.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the average price of bread is now about $1.53. That's up 16 cents from last year. A gallon of milk is up by 10 cents. Beef is up 27 and a dozen eggs are up by 10. Experts say the reason lies in higher gas prices and an increase in demand for items now that the country is opening back up. Companies facing greater production and shipping expenses are also jacking up prices to cover their bottom line. Coca-Cola, General Mills, Procter & Gamble, and more are telling customers to prepare for more prices to increase throughout this year and into 2022.
I think it's a storm that's been coming, to be quite honest with you. You know, we've been dealing with supply demand issues since the beginning of the pandemic.
And here's a money-saving tip. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says food inflation will be greater at restaurants than if you bought food from a grocery store. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Well, younger adults are hesitant to get a COVID-19 shot, which national health expert says it's an issue for all Americans. We're going to have the full breakdown coming up next.
And a look at that early morning forecast shows those temperatures in the mid-70s with a shower possible. But we're talking about staying warm and also wet in the forecast. Details just ahead.